Don't try to fall in love like they do in the movies. Don't try and fall in love like they do in the songs. Finding love takes effort. Keeping love takes effort. Both of them take effort. I find that if you're doing the work to learn to love yourself, that process and that skill helps you learn to love someone else. Let me give an example. Like, if I'm learning to love myself, it means I have to get to know my dark side. It means I have to get to know my flaws. It means I have to get to know parts of myself that make me feel uncomfortable. Now, if I recognize that I have all of that in me, now when I meet someone else, I'm not surprised when they have it in them because I've already seen it in myself. And I think often if we think, oh, like I'm gonna meet someone and they're not gonna have any issues or they're not gonna have any challenges, it's partly because we haven't necessarily worked through our own. And so I think if your trauma is more visible to you, if your pain and your stress of the past is more visible to you, you're actually better at being compassionate to someone else's because you can see it's something that connects us. Russell Barkley said that the people who need the most love ask for it in the most unloving ways.
Wow.
And
so true.
The commitment I've made to myself is I no longer want to ask for love in unloving ways. I no longer want to be snappy to feel loved. I no longer want to be demanding to experience love. I no longer want to make someone else feel a passive-aggressive comment to feel love. I want to communicate about the type of love I need in an open and honest way rather than trying to hope that someone else is going to figure it out because I'm sending subliminal messages or I'm being distant or I'm avoiding them. And so that was something deeply that I learned was that we just constantly keep asking, even the people that love us the most, we keep requesting and demanding love in the most unloving ways.
Yes.
And if we can free ourselves of that, you can actually make a relationship really special and beautiful.
Yeah. If you had to create a book called The 4 Agreements of Love, what are 4 agreements that we should all have in an intimate, loving partner?
Oh, I said, okay, so I'm going to go practical. The first one I'd say is we sleep at the same time. I think that's a huge one. If you're living together, we go to sleep at the same time. So many studies show that when partners are in rhythm with each other, in sync with each other, our heartbeats sync, our breathing syncs. And if you have a healthy relationship, that can be really supportive to your connection. And couples who sleep together get to have important conversations.
Right.
They get to connect. They get to not feel or wonder, well, where's my partner? What are they up to them, right? So that would be the first agreement. Make sure you sleep together. And I'd add to that one, make sure you sleep at the same time and make sure you eat one meal together every day. Have one meal that's shared. The second agreement I'm going to make is when our partner wants our attention, we are completely available and undistracted. That we put our phones away, that we stop doing what you're doing when your partner requests that they need your undivided attention.
Hey, can you be present for me for a moment?
Correct.
Yeah.
And it has to be both ways. There has to be a request and then there has to be the response.
2, number 3.
Talk more about your issues with your partner or with a therapist than with other random people.
Oh, that's so good.
So I think that most people talk more about their partner to their friends than they do to their partner or a therapist who's qualified to help. And I find that interesting that some couples can go weeks without talking to each other, but they're talking to their friends about each other every day.
Number 4.
Expect people to change and for you to evolve. And so keep getting to know them again and again and again. Don't live in this world that my partner's never going to change. We're going to stay the same. Everything's going to be the same. I think this addiction to the same stops us from the most beautiful thing in love, which can be change. And if you expect that your partner is going to grow, you keep getting to know them. I think one of the biggest mistakes we make is we think we know our partners, and so we stop asking them questions. We think we understand them fully, so we're no longer curious. We assume that we can read their mind, and so we never check. And that's when you end up in a surprise when 10 years from now you both go, I didn't marry you. I didn't want to be with you. You're a totally different person. So I feel like getting to know your partner every week, every month, like almost look at your partner through the lens of, if I don't see them in new scenarios, I won't learn new things about them. Don't try to fall in love like they do in the movies. Don't try and fall in love like they do in the songs. Don't try to fall in love in some big romantic Hollywood idyllic way. Ask yourself, do you know who you are? Do you know who they are? Every time you ask yourself, do they like me? Ask yourself, do I really like them? Every time you ask yourself, do they think I'm attractive? Ask yourself, am I working on myself? Every time you think, do they want me? Will they take care of me? Ask yourself, how can I better take care of myself? And so everything you want from someone else, give it to yourself first.